Doc, first of all, man, you got a ton of education behind your philosophies and your training, right? Whereas for me, I kind of started learning that later. Not as, not as in depth, but so those are the things that for safety, for functional training, for athletic performance. So could you just give us a brief background of your education and how this even came about and your background in fitness yourself?
Definitely. So I got my undergrad and master's in kinesiology from Indiana University. And that was a really cool experience because during that entire process, I was basically training people hands-on, one-on-one, also doing some stuff with teams. So I got to take what I learned in school and essentially implement it with my clients in the practical setting. When I was 24, once I finished my master's, my body started to fall apart, even though I was using kind of what was considered mainstream expert fitness advice and technique. So that kind of led me down this path that my body was falling apart, but I'm following everything like it should be. So I went and did my PhD, pursued my PhD in kinesiology at the University of Georgia. And what I found while I was doing this and kind of embarking on this journey was something called a 90-degree eccentric isometric protocol. And all that is it's a way of training that allows the lifter to fine-tune their body mechanics and basically use extrasensory feedback that's occurring during the movement to essentially adjust their body mechanics so it's pain-free, so it's as strong as possible, and so they're also
pain-free.
Pain-free. That's the key. That's the key. That's the key. So a lot of it involves 90-degree joint angles. When I did the research in biomechanics and neuromuscular physiology, it showed that 90-degree joint angles isn't just the most biomechanically sound position where we have the best leverage. It's also the position where we have the most motor unit recruitment, the most muscle activation, and also where we have the least amount of tension on the joints and connective tissue. So this device we have here that you guys developed for the bench press, it actually combines really well with my training philosophies.
Now let me ask you a question. And me being a bench presser, how often do you have guys come in with shoulder injuries? How often do you see shoulder injuries due to bench pressing?
I would say shoulder injuries just in general, along with maybe low back issues, are probably the two most common things
in bench pressing.
And just in general.
Yeah.
And then if we talk about upper body and we get a little bit more specific in the bench press, I would say 80% of the athletes I work with at some time or another have had some significant shoulder issues on bench press or from bench press. We can always tie it back to the barbell flat bench press because everyone likes to go heavy on that. So it's a very common issue.
Very common issue. See, one of my issues is shoulders.
Right.
Shoulder mobility, not so much pain anymore. Actually using the launch pad kind of helped out because I was feeling a ton of pressure on my front delts as I was bench pressing, but it's the mobility part that I've ruined over years of doing it. So it's interesting you say that. So today, if you don't mind, of all the Instagram videos I've seen of yours, I've seen some cool workouts. I got me and this clown who also has shoulder issues, and we were like, man, if you don't mind, show us something on the launch pad, chest-wise, man, that maybe I can steal and again act like I came up with it. You got it?
Nice.
All right, Doc.
Let's do it. All right, so we have the advanced muscle mechanics bench press tool right here. And what I'm going to demonstrate is I'm going to take my 90-degree eccentric isometric protocol and I'm going to combine it with this. And what I like about this is that it basically reinforces proper spinal position, which is a huge thing for what I do with 90-degree eccentric isometrics. Also optimizes scapulohumeral rhythm so we can get our shoulders back better. And it's also a very rigid surface, so it forces us to create very sound structural integrity of the spine and stay tight. So we're going to go into this 90-degree eccentric isometric protocol. So on the 90-degree eccentric isometric protocol, what I'm going to do, I'm going to tighten up my whole body, set my posture, tight core. I'm going to go down slow, but I'm using my back to squeeze down like a row. Down nice and slow. I'm going to feel that natural stopping point of 90 degrees. Now I can go tighter, I can go lower, but I have to sacrifice shoulder integrity. So I know right there, everything is maximally locked in. Again, I stay as tight as possible. Find that first natural stopping point. Right there, I can feel my back muscles and my lats fully engaged. It feels strong, but it feels safe. Boom, right there. That's the position we're after, whether it's dumbbell, barbell, single arm, double arm, doesn't matter. That's a proper 90-degree eccentric isometric. All right, so we're going to use the 90-degree eccentric isometric protocol. You may or may not be too used to this, but what I want you to do is several things. First off, before you start the set,
activate everything as tight as possible. Kind of that traditional powerlifting position where you pull the shoulders back, create a natural arch, but not excessive. The way we're gonna make sure it's not excessive is keep your core tight. And then from there, I want you to lower it slowly, keep your back tight, find your first natural stopping point with your shoulders down and back. Let's try it out.
All right, now, big chest, perfect. Okay, down slow, big chest, perfect, keep going. Nice, that looks great. Awesome, that's a great position right there. Good. Hold it. Good, be powerful but smooth. Exactly, that's nice. That 90-degree position is where we have maximal muscle activation, but he also has the least amount of tension on the joints of connective tissue. And so it's basically therapeutic on the muscles as well as on the joints. Excellent job. Awesome, that's perfect form. Excellent.
So it helps stabilize or create better development of the entire.
It does, because if you go deeper. Okay, same thing here. All right, good. All right, get the shoulder set, perfect. Okay, nice. I like that. All right, and then just find that first natural stopping point. Stay tight. Full body tension. Full body tension. That's nice right there. That's perfect. Powerful but smooth. Boom. Exactly. That's nice. And his shoulders are staying in a firm position. Now, he could go farther, but he'd have to sacrifice his position. He'd either have to overarch his back, or he'd have to go into slight internal rotation and overstretch the connective tissue. Right here, the muscles are maximally stretched under full tension. Again, he can go deeper, but he's letting up on his muscle activation. That's perfect right there. Excellent job. Perfect.
Speed-wise, that as fast as you wanted to go down?
So it depends. If I'm teaching an athlete and they're working on more powerful kind of speed.
That did take a lot off, and honestly, I'm not used to doing this grip when I do dumbbells, because when I used to try it, I used to feel that's because I'm extending too much. I used to feel it on that chest,
and then it tears off.
Yeah, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it at all. I felt a ton of tension, good tension, and coming up, I felt it. Push on the chest.
Not so much in the shoulder joint.
Yep. That's what I used to try it, and it just didn't work out that way.
You can always stretch more, but there has to be a point where it's like, whoa, how far is too far. And that point, when we look at the research on biomechanics, we look at the research on structural muscle physiology, we look at the research on neuromuscular physiology, it's all congruent with each other. It's all pointing to the exact same thing. Showing that 90 degrees is where that point is. That's the sweet spot. You go past that, you're actually having less muscle activation. Right. You actually have to let up on the muscles, but something has to take that force. And if the muscles aren't fired up, guess what it is? It's your joints, your ligaments, your tendons, and connective tissue.